Time to get your fix. It's a horrible gaming podcast. It's not good, it's not great. Horrible gaming podcast. It's not even what you would call fair. It's really not that good. Horrible Gaming Podcast.
Hello, my name is Zachary Van Sliders from Old Man Gaming. With me as always is
Logan, aka Knight645.
And we've done it. This is Old Man Gaming, Knight645 present a horrible gaming podcast. We're on episode 7. And usual disclaimers. We're terrible at this. You might hear Logan's dog in the background. You might hear me do what I just did, which is pause for way too long. Either way, we're not going to go back and edit it because we don't get any monies for this. All right. So, with that said, so today is a special day. We have our second ever guest on the podcast. I'm going to go ahead and call him a super fan of this show, even though we've only had 7 episodes. Of the 2 people who listen every time and comment nearly every time, it's Phil Billy, which we already have for the Borderlands episode, and now my good friend. Go ahead and introduce yourself. I don't want to give them the names that if you don't want to give them out.
Oh, no, that's all right. My name is Neil. That's pretty much it. I got gamer tags and whatnot like that. But
this
frankly,
guy is a tiny wizard. We read out your gamer tag on the show, and it was hilarious. And I think I'm just going to call you ATW for the rest of the show, if that's all right with you. I think...
Absolutely. I'll tell you, actually, there's a couple of friends of mine that actually call me Tiny Wizard, like, in real life. Like, I physically kneel and standing there, but I will hear Wizard being called out like I'm some mystical master of the arts or something like that. But
if you say Wizard 3 times, this guy shows up and tells you about video games.
It's either a blessing or a curse, depending on how you want to look at it.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about your gaming habits, Neil. What's your specialty? What do you like to play? Just a overview. We'll get into specifics later.
Yeah, pretty much myself. I pretty much tend to stick towards single player, linear story. I like some big open world stuff. I do a little bit of online multiplayer, but honestly, not so much anymore. I do stick to a lot of the classics, though, even still to this day. Some of the games that I've been playing are 25 plus years old, and I still, to this day, I'll boot up the Super Nintendo Classic and play a couple of them.
Oh, that Super Nintendo Classic is a joy. The only thing that maddens me about all those classics is whoever was in that boardroom, like, we gotta make it classic, which means we gotta keep a wire on a controller. I want to just beat that dude with a fucking pipe until his brain comes out his ear. Make wireless controllers. Are you kidding me? There's no way.
Well, boy, do I have a surprise for you.
Okay.
They make aftermarket wireless controllers for these things.
Are they good, though? Because, I got one of those retro ones with wireless for my wife because she likes the Super Nintendo, and those things have a delay, like a full second delay. Try playing Mario with a second delay on the buttons.
Oh, it's terrible.
I personally don't have any of the wireless ones. I have a ridiculous amount of extension cables actually running from my TV to my couch, just like you do back in the olden days. Honestly, if you're going to get a classic console, you got to play it the classic way, and that's dangerously.
I was about to say, I don't know if I can back you on that one. I have a 3-year-old kid, and the other day I had to plug in my Xbox controller to charge it because it was running out of life, and she pulled my entire Xbox off the shelf to the ground. It was a nightmare for me. Like, I just watched my entire life ending in front of me. Like,
oh my God.
Like, my child is pulling my other child, the Xbox, off the shelf onto her head. Like, it's like, my children are going to kill each other. Oh, no. This is terrible.
It's like Highlander. There can only be one.
But it ended up being okay, but we also use our Xbox. We're complete cord cutters, so we use our Xbox for every piece of entertainment in our house. So it would have been like a blackout for our city, for our
That's
house.
exactly what I do too.
Yeah, man, that's it. Like when our power when we can't use the Xbox or it's updating, it's like, man, it gets real. It's like, you want to play checkers or something? Maybe we could read a book. Do you remember how to read books?
We actually have to have conversations and
we could
live actual life.
Talk
Like,
about
what?
your day.
Oh.
It's only when the power goes out when you realize how boring everyone's life actually is.
I honestly, that happened to us a little while ago. This past couple weeks ago, we lost power here, and I was lost. Like, actually lost. Like, I lit a candle at least to get some light in the house. It was like, I'm gonna do something, but I couldn't for the life of me figure out what to do.
Right. And then, like, you're on your phone and you're like, this is only going to last so long. It's like that moment in Pitch Black where, like, the light's going out and you know the monsters are around it. It's like,
yeah.
This phone's going to die, and then I have nothing.
See, and that's why I got a DS, because I got the phone and then that. So I at least have double the time.
That's true.
All right, so that brings us to fan interaction. So, this week we did get a fan interaction response, and the question was, what is your favorite game of maybe of all time, maybe of right now, whatever. What's your favorite game? That's the question, however you want to answer it. So, Thor Zednik responded, commented, I'm going to cheat a little on this and give my favorite series. Well, he found a way to cheat, I guess. I thought Logan couldn't find a way to cheat with this, but apparently Thor beat him to the punch. Specifically, Metal Gear Solid 1998 to Metal Gear Solid 4 2008. I guess this would be the part that kept a continuing storyline, which I will totally grant was completely over the top by the fourth installment. And how I added that part, but I loved every second of it. The story always had me hooked. I loved the challenge of playing a shooter and not killing anyone for the entire game. But most of all, I think it sold me on the third person. I've played my fair share of Halo, Modern Warfare, and Battlefield, but what's gotten most of my money since those days are third-person games like Assassin's Creed, Red Dead, GTA, and Uncharted. Okay, so that's Thor's favorite game. I wholeheartedly disagree with it, but it's an opinion thing, so that's totally his bag. He played one of those in front of me. I can't remember which one. I think it was I want to say 3 or something. The first time that Solid Snake was old, maybe 4. I don't know, but he showed me a cinema screen, like a cinematic that was like literally 40 minutes long. I was like, is there a game in here? Or are we just going to talk to this weird arms dealer with a monkey for like 40 minutes? Like, what is happening? Do we get to murder anyone? What's going on? But Thor, it's your opinion, and I respect it, and a lot of other people in the world suspect it. So I think I might be alone on that one. So guys, what are your favorite games?
Neil, I'll let you go first.
All right. Well, I have to say that mine's more of a present because the games that I played I enjoy, but I cannot pinpoint one that is like my absolute number one top. It's kind of like a rotating list. But right now, I've got to say that my favorite game is Undertale. I just played Undertale for the first time like 2 months ago, and I frankly cannot stop. I mean, this game, it's just an indie game, and I say just loosely because it is more than just an indie game. I mean, this thing was nominated for awards at the VGAs in 2015.
Yeah. For
the best RPG, and it was up against The Witcher 3, Fallout 4, and Bloodborne.
And it's like bit graphics.
And it's what?
It's like it's like retro bit graphics.
Like, it is, It is, but it's like the graphics themselves are, but the music itself, it's a mixture of like the 8-bit sort of stuff combined with like actual like synth and stuff that you would find. Like the songs in this game, like I actively listen to the soundtrack even like while I'm at work, different iterations of it. There's so many different covers. Just if you want to check out just one song from this, it's called Hopes and Dreams. Like I actually listened to the soundtrack a little bit before I even played the game, and the soundtrack alone is what got me to buy this game.
I just want you to know, I just wrote a note, listen to Hopes and Dreams. So I'm going...
if that, frankly, if that song does not turn you on to this game, you're probably not going to enjoy it. I mean, it is an epic song. Like, combining bit sound along with, like, actual, like, guitar riffs and stuff. And it's the gameplay, even on its own. I mean, it's a great story, 3 different endings, and it's got a twist on the traditional RPG mechanics in the fight and in. I can only say something else because it's a spoiler to really say what it is. People who've played the game probably know what I'm talking about.
Okay.
But the RPG mechanics, I mean, it's turn-based, but it then turns into a mini game when an enemy fights you. Like, there's so many different things that this game does fantastically. And honestly, this game on its own has opened me up to indie games. So I'd say it's almost like a gateway drug, if you were to say.
I love those games that really get you into indie games. Moonlighter was huge for me, and now like I can't wait to play those silly little games like the minute they come out. But Moonlighter was that for me. It was just like, oh my god, I'm so into this. But I that's awesome for Undertale. I wish they'd release it on console. Just like put it in Game Pass or something.
I actually played it on the Switch. They have it on, I believe it's on all major consoles.
Major?
Really?
I thought it was just on Switch. I'm gonna have to check now.
PS4, Switch, obviously the PC. I think it might be on Xbox also. I'm not 100% on that, but I would assume that it would be on all of them at this point.
I will have to check that out. Yeah, I've heard a lot of good things about it. It's always mentioned. All right, Logan, what's your favorite, man? I think I know the answer though, but what's your favorite?
You already know the answer. It's Titanfall.
Oh, you know, I actually didn't want to call it out, but you didn't mention Titanfall in the last episode.
It's Titanfall forever.
Titanfall.
You can't beat it. I already put a ring on it. Titanfall has my soul.
I thought you were going to say 2K, because I know you've been playing a lot of 2K lately.
No, I like 2K. The thing is, I like 2K. I love Titanfall. There's a lot of games that I like. Just like Neil said, there's a lot of them that are like, I really like this game, and I really spent a lot of time into this, but Titanfall has my heart. Has my soul.
That's fair. All right, so my favorite, I really want to get crazy and be like on edge and pick something that everybody doesn't know that I would pick, but it's Monster Hunter World. Everybody knows it's Monster Hunter World. I talk about that game constantly. I'm making a show about it. I can't not say Monster Hunter World. It's Monster Hunter World. I will have to say, though, still, I think the game that's most affected me as a gamer was Skyrim. I will maintain that forever. That completely changed my preferences in video games. Did a total 180 on me. But Monster Hunter World's my favorite right now. I am constantly grinding that effing game out. So, Monster Hunter World. All right.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I was just about to say, I may say, I gotta say, I've never played Monster Hunter.
Okay, so here's the thing, Neil. We're gonna take more time than we should to talk about this, but you've said the magic words to me, and now I have to rant a little bit. I've never played a Monster Hunter World game before. I'm sorry, never played a Monster Hunter game before World, ever. The only reason I played Monster Hunter World was I watch the IGN stuff a lot, and I watch all the trailers on upcoming games because obviously it's something I'm interested in. But so it seemed interesting, but I wasn't gonna get it. And then IGN gave it a 9.2, and I was like, all right, I don't have any other games going on right now. I gotta go give this thing a try. And then from that point on, I've just been into it. It's got a whole lot of anime bullshit in it that I usually like. I can't stand that stuff. I just want that gone. But the loop of the game and the fight of the game is absolutely so satisfying. I said it in the review this week. I'm saying it again. There is nothing better than like tracking the monster through the wilderness, hunting him, fighting him repeatedly, and then bringing him down over the course of like 15 minutes to 50 minutes. Like, it's just... when you defeat it, it's like, yes, like you want to take a vacation. It's amazing. I highly, if you ever want to try a Monster Hunter World though, a Monster Hunter game, try Monster Hunter World, because they did a lot of stuff with it that made it a little bit less techy and hard for people who hadn't played Monster Hunter before to get into. So I highly recommend it as a jumping off point. But
I think I'm going to have to try it now on that absolutely glowing review.
Do you have Games Pass?
No, I actually, unfortunately, do not have Games Pass.
Well,
It's only $1.
I heard that right now.
I'm going to tell you, we cannot spend any more time on this, but ask me when the show's over. I will give you at least one way to get Games Pass for free, and I will get...
All right.
Oh, no.
And they are always offering deals on Games Pass. Always. I just bought 3 months for $9.99. Like, they're constantly giving away deals. You just wait for a deal and sign up. But, okay. All right.
All right.
We got to move on. All right. So, we're back. One last thing I want to add. Why I said we're back. I just outed us. But I totally forgot to ask the fans reaction question. Okay. I'm just going to take a little stop. Because I just totally fucked everything up. And I want everybody out there to know that this is called a horrible podcast for a reason. And the reason is I can't edit any of that shit out. So you're going to listen to me come back, fumble with the return, totally out ourselves as pausing the podcast every so often. You're just going to have to deal with that. This is what you get, low quality. This is why you're here. So the question, the fan interaction question this week is, we want to know, you, the fans, what your top 5 games are. Just give them to us in list form, or you can describe why. It's totally up to you. Do it in the comments below, or you can find us on Facebook and do it there. Feel free. We want to hear from you. So please, give us your top 5 games. You can give us why, or you can give us not. I'll read them out on the show, happily. So... with that list question, we're going to move right into the next segment, which is, we decided to have a little list fun this week, and each of us decided to pick 3 games that were games that we didn't think we were going to like, and we ended up loving. So we're going to go around the table. We're going to do one from each person. And no, we're not sitting at a table. We're in different states. Get it right. But I said that anyway because
I'm at a desk.
Terrible. You're at a desk. I'm at a desk too. Neil, are you at a desk? Are we desk buddies?
Wait, what? I couldn't hear. I there was like some weirdness that happened. I don't know.
No, are you sitting at a desk?
You know what?
Are you sitting at a desk?
So, you know what? You should probably infer that I'm absolutely sitting at a desk.
Yes.
I have a lamp that I can angle on. I already told you I'm a tryhard, so I'm like in full on. I have a pen. I'm taking notes while this is going on.
Neil, I want you to know, I already
yes.
talked to Logan about this. If Logan ever quits, because he gets older and decides that there's more important things to life than doing a shitty podcast with a grown-ass man he met on the internet, you're going to be the guy who I'm going to ask to replace him. Just want you to know that ahead of time.
Yeah, you hear that, folks? He already is my replacement. Sad face.
You got to understand, when you get older, Logan, you're always looking for a replacement. Always.
Yes.
I got replacements for everybody in my life. I'm ready. Like, I love the people who are there right now, but if they go, I gotta be prepared. I don't have a lot of. I have less and less time every day. I gotta find those people. All right, so our fun list. Let's go around the metaphorical desk, and one per person. Neil, give us one of your three.
All right. I'm probably going to start with what is probably objectively the worst game probably that's going to come out of this list. And that is going to be Sonic 06.
Holy shit, dude.
So,
you're picking Sonic. You liked Sonic 06?
All right, so bear with me.
Oh my god. We're going to get added just for that.
I know that this game is terrible. I absolutely know that this game is terrible. I have been a diehard Sonic fan my whole life. Sonic the Hedgehog OG was my first game that I literally ever played. But
it's right here. I'm right along with you. I love Sonic.
I bought this game because I had heard how terrible it was, and I played it, and I hated it while playing it. But I was surrounded by a bunch of friends of mine in college, and I have to tell you, like, laughing at this broken game is the most fun that I have ever had even playing the game. I totally just forgot how terrible it was. You would have some dumb stuff happen, pause the game, and I would run down the hall to a friend of mine's room, like, hey, yo, you got to come see this. Like, you are not going to believe what just happened. Falling through the floor, the insane loading screens.
Or hell, the storyline. This hedgehog wants to F this little girl. Somebody needs to see that.
Timeline, time travel, craziness. Like, it is not a good game. And I was expecting the worst when I went into it, but I have to say I absolutely adore that game. I will continue to play that game throughout my life because it was that much of a good time.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
I guess
you opened with that. One thing I appreciate, Neil, is you opening with that, because I don't know if you listened to the last show, but Logan opened on the fantasy corner, and I couldn't even do mine after that.
Okay. I asked you if you wanted to go first. You told me nah.
I'm not upset. I dug my own grave. I'm just saying. He opened with one that's very easily
I
toppable.
got this.
I do like the idea of, like, a Mystery Science Theater for video games. Somebody should do that.
Yes.
Okay, Logan, let's give us one of yours, man.
All right, my first one is going to be Dauntless. Zach got me into Dauntless, and like when I first started it, because I tried Monster Hunter World out, and I really wasn't a huge fan of it, but it's a good game. It just wasn't for me.
It's one of those where if you play it, you're either gonna love it or you're not gonna want to be playing it anymore. So I got it. I totally understood.
And so then I heard the Dauntless was coming out, and I seen it, and like the graphics were really cool. It was a really cool concept of a game, but since I didn't like Monster Hunter World that much, I didn't know what I was like getting into going into this, and I ended up loving that game.
Yeah.
me and Zach grinded that game out. Yeah. I love that game.
Yeah, we played a lot of that. We'll have to play some of that soon too.
Yeah.
I do enjoy that game. I enjoy that game quite a bit. I like it too because it's basically just like, it's like the arcade version of Monster Hunter. Like, oh, is Monster Hunter 2 technically heavy for you? Here's this game, which is Monster Hunter World without any of that bullshit. You just go in and you fight the monster, you know?
Yep.
I did enjoy that quite a bit. The only thing I don't like about it is when you get to the later levels, there's such a gap between how effective you are at certain points where, like, you can't even touch the monsters you're fighting. You have to go in with friends. You have to find a way to, like, basically have them carry you till you're good enough to carry other people. And I don't really like that. Like, that's one thing I like about Monster Hunter World is it takes work, but I can solo every monster in the game. But, yeah, so.
Exactly.
Okay, so I guess it's my turn, right?
Yep.
Okay, I'm going to go with the simple one first because I want the cooler ones to be towards the end, but Monster Hunter World. I know. I mentioned this game way too much in this podcast. I did not realize we were going to talk about it so much in the beginning, but I didn't think I was going to like it. It looked kind of silly anime shit to me, and I only decided to buy it because I had a gift card and there wasn't anything else out, and it got such a high rating, and I love that game. I love it so much. Despite all the cutscenes where people are talking like no one talks in the world ever. I don't know who in anime decided that was a good idea. Like, people just wave at people for no reason. Like, why are you waving to that guy? He's 3 feet away. Why? And why does everybody say yes after every sentence? Every sentence they say, and then yes. Like, what? Okay, whatever.
I want to make sure that you know, that you absolutely know, yes. Yes, in fact. Whatever it is that you just said, you are correct.
Right, or like a fist pump, and everything's like vaguely sexual for no apparent reason. Like, every time somebody's talking to anybody, like my wife saw the handler as a woman, and your character, of course, can be a guy or a girl, but I was playing a guy, and he was like, is your character with her? And I was like, I have no idea. I think everybody's effing everybody in this world, because everybody, the way they talk, it's just like they're always looking at each other like they want to bang each other. I don't know what that is.
That's anime for you.
But right. But they're just talking about shit like, I like food. Why did she say that in a way that makes me think she wants to have sex with his face? I don't get it. Whatever. Okay, so Neil, your second one.
All right. I would say that my second one is probably Metroid, the other M for the Wii.
Oh, okay.
So that game, I feel like that game got a bad rap whenever it came
that's
out.
Not the popular one. That's one of the ones that they don't love, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, I think, if I remember correctly, that Samus had never spoken at all until Smash Brothers Brawl when that came out for the Wii, and I think everybody, strictly just from her voice, got this idea that she was a very, like, she was set in stone as this is the character, tough, hard-ass sort of individual, and then Metroid Other M, like, delves more into her backstory and the tragic things that she's gone through and how she's messed up from all that stuff, and it's rightfully so with everything that had happened. Everybody was, oh, well, they just made Samus out to be just a whiny girl, and this, that, and the other. It's like, she's not allowed to have feelings? I'm not quite certain about that. Combine that with the control scheme was a little odd because it was 2D and 3D depending on how you held the Wii remote, and it wasn't what people were really wanting. They wanted another Metroid Prime, or they wanted a 2D Metroid.
Right. And
they got both of them in one package, and I believe it was Team Ninja was the ones that did it, so they put their own spin on it, and it, like, nobody opened their minds to what a non-exclusively Nintendo Metroid could look like.
Yeah. I completely understand that, and there's a lot of people, you know, I felt like that was kind of, I didn't like, I haven't really played Halo 5 storyline. I know that everybody hates it, and I'm sure it's not,
it was bad.
I'm sure it's bad. I'm not arguing that it's bad, but a lot of people's problem were like, oh, there's not enough Master Chief in it. And I was like, well, you've had 4 games about this dude who says 3 or 4 words the entire time, literally to the point where they had to invent a character who basically talks for him, Cortana. You have to do, like, they're trying to write a story, and you've explored that guy. That guy's explored. He's very simple. He's fucking Bruce Willis who talks less. Like,
Master Chief's awesome.
I'm not saying Master Chief's not awesome. I'm not saying badasses aren't awesome, but if you don't get into their backstory, you run out of story, is the thing.
He doesn't have backstory. He's just awesome.
Oh my God.
That's his backstory.
That's his backstory.
Let's just make a badass guy and not give him backstory. Yep. Sounds good to me.
Well, then you have to have story all around it. like Mad Max Fury Road. I mean, not to get into movies, this is a video game podcast, but Mad Max Fury Road was great. Mad Max is just a badass with no story around him, but everybody else in the movie has like nothing but story to make up for it.
Yeah, I definitely feel that.
Because you have to have plot development, is all I'm saying. And I'm sure they didn't do it right in 5. I haven't played 5.
No, five they did not do it right. They did not do it right.
I'm not arguing that. I see what Neil's saying. There's a lot of people who, they want the character to be the same so much that they forget to make a good story. A character has to change and be different, you know?
Yep.
Absolutely.
Right.
I agree.
So Logan, your next one.
My second one will be Brawlhalla. I was never really into fighting games because I was never really good at them. So I thought like Mortal Kombat was pretty cool, but like I just didn't really like playing them that much. So when Brawlhalla first came out, like I didn't get into it, and a lot of my friends did. But I just wasn't really into it. I was like, hey, it's another fighting game. I don't really like fighting games, so I'm not even gonna give it a try, type of deal.
Right.
And I ended up giving it a try with Ashton, like I don't know, like 3 months ago, and then I told Zach about it, and I told a couple of my other friends about it, and we just played it like as a joke at first. Like it's a fun little game to get into. It's pretty simple controls, so you don't need to really grind like you would have to on Mortal Kombat.
It's like serious Smash Brothers, basically. The thing that I like about it is how quick the matches are. Like if you only have 10 minutes to play a video game, it's absolutely beautiful. There's no loading time. You just pop in, you fight a match for 10 minutes, and then you're done. Like there's nothing.
Not even. They're actually like 4-minute matches.
Yeah. That's
and so we played it as a joke at first, and we were just doing like basic button mashing type of deal. Like you just press buttons and hope for the best, and we all laugh and have a good time. And then as it went on, I started being like, I actually like this. I want to get good at this. Yeah. And then we all started getting a lot better and playing it more, and I just love the game.
That game is a lot of fun, especially when you get like 6 people and they're all playing. And they're all just screaming at each other. It is a lot of fun. Neil, have you ever played Brawlhalla?
No, I know of it though. It's kind of like almost like Smash Brothers.
It is.
Yeah,
it is
it's
literally
like that.
Like serious Smash Brothers is what it is. Like with its own original characters. It's the same basic like premise, fighting mechanics sort of thing. But it has its own characters and it's more serious looking. Like.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing. It's worth a try, man. It really is. It's only multiplayer version, but you don't even have to have your headset on. You can just go into a free fall match, and it's not going to matter, you know?
Oh, exactly.
Yeah. That's actually, I think, part of my aversion to online stuff with randos is just the incessant screeching from 13-year-olds who say that they're going to do things to my mom. And it's just like, I'm not about it.
Right.
That's how me and Zach became friends.
In fairness, you didn't say you were going to fuck my mom. You said you were going to fuck some random guy who was winning on the computer.
And I gave you details, too.
Okay. Well.
So, Zach, why don't you tell us about your second pick?
Well, I actually just had to cross out my second pick because I had picked Brawlhalla as well.
Well, you can go into more detail about it.
No. I don't want to spend that much time. I'm actually going to say Realm Royale instead. That was a game that I would have never attempted to even try. Didn't even get second looks when I was scrolling through the free games list. And you told me I had to play it because it was fun and stupid. And then I played quite a bit of it. I don't play it as much anymore because Hi-Rez has no idea how to balance things. And it drives me insane, so I don't play it that much.
Yep.
It's crazy. Neil, have you ever played Realm Royale? I'm guessing not, since like 4 people have in the world.
No, I mean, actually, I don't think I've even heard of it, honestly.
It's, okay, do you know what Paladins is?
Yeah.
Okay, it's the Battle Royale version of that. It's the same studio and everything. The problem is that these guys, they're crazy. What they'll do is, like, it's fun because you go in. It's class based, almost like, I don't want to say Overwatch because Overwatch is more character based, but it's kind of like that. There's 4 classes and they have specific abilities that you can equip to the loadout, and then there's all sorts of stuff you can get. It's not just weapons. There's also like special abilities you get, and you can interchange them. And the idea behind it is you can have just hundreds of thousands of playstyles, but there's never hundreds of thousands of playstyles. There's only ever 2 playstyles that are meta at the time, and and every time High Res comes out with something, they like react to things so poorly that it'll be like they see a Reddit like the mage is too powerful, so they'll just gut the mage and then make the assassin overpowered, and then everybody will be like, the assassin's too powerful, so instead of like trying to balance the two, they'll just gut the assassin, make the mage too powerful. And they do this with everything, guns, abilities, the whole 9 yards. It's really hard to keep playing it because you're just waiting for them to get it right. It's one of those things where like you're playing it and you're like, man, this is almost perfect, but it's not.
Yep. Exactly what it is.
Very disappointing whenever, like, I feel like in an instance like that, like, should probably, how often do they patch this?
They patch it every 2-3 weeks.
Yeah.
Oh, see, that's the thing. I feel like they should just take, like, a month or 2, play test stuff, and, like, just react with less patches that are meatier, essentially.
Or if you're going to do patches that long, do smaller incremental changes so that you can see how it works out instead of, like, complete game-changing rewrites every time.
True.
Exactly.
You know, I mean, like, I would be even okay with that. I like better an idea of, like, all right, let's play with it for 3 months and then rework everything. You know, it's the same thing with Anthem. We haven't mentioned It's almost a perfect game, but it's terrible. It's the worst thing. It's the worst thing, Neil. I put so many hours into that because I'm like, this is almost great, but it's not good. And then they just never... And then everybody started getting fired, and then it was like one dude at E3 just like sadly like, I swear we haven't given up on this game. Okay.
There was a video that I saw of that E3 where it's just facial reactions from people in the crowd to the things that he is saying, and it is just amazing.
Yeah. It's so sad too, because if that game was just a train wreck, I would be like, okay, it's a train wreck. Another pre-order is shitty, whatever. But it's not. The movement in that game is the best. The actual mechanics of the flight and the movement and the shooting feels so good. It's just everything around that they got wrong.
It's so beautiful.
Yeah,
the
really
movement.
Is. Like, it saddens me how much fun it is just to get into those suits and fly around is great. But then, like, you realize that there's nothing fun to do in them other than fly around. Okay, all right.
Zach, do you remember the time that when we were on a mission and I sat there for about 5 minutes just jumping around and flying around and explaining to you how much I love the movement?
Yeah, I remember. All right, we gotta keep going. No more digressions. Neil, your third one.
All right, my third one might upset people, but I'm going to say
it's gonna upset people more than Sonic 06?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, it's because it's 2 totally different groups of people. There's the people who are the diehard fans who are like, oh, Sonic is good no matter what. And then there's the people who actually enjoy a good game, and I say that I didn't like it at first when I say I didn't like Skyrim.
Whoa!
Out of the gate. Okay. So, I started with Oblivion.
Okay.
I started with Oblivion coming off the heels of Fable 2.
Oh.
I wanted something like Fable 2.
Yeah.
So a buddy of mine was like, what? Oh, I thought you guys were going to say something. I'm sorry.
No.
Yeah.
It's the problem with doing it on
I
our
was
phones.
like bracing myself physically and emotionally for becoming a punching bag for saying I didn't like Skyrim at first. But, yeah, no, when I started playing Oblivion, I was just like, this thing, I don't enjoy it. It's not as fun as what I was enjoying in Fable 2.
Right.
So I literally made a character, climbed up to the top of the tallest mountain, and just jumped off cliffs off them. Different cliffs, different venues, there are different views. I would admire the view and then jump off the cliff, reload my save, go to the other part of the map, do the same thing over and over. But then, like,
That is a
Skyrim
weird
came out,
use
and
of
I
time.
heard that, like, that was my senior year when that came out. I believe it was my senior year of high school. No, it wasn't. That was 2011. Well, I heard people who were
Please don't make me feel any older than I already feel on a daily basis.
Look, I'm 30 in, like, 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Hope you're ready for knee pains and weird leaks. Yeah.
Oh, I'm already ready for that. I've been dealing with that for like 5 years already. But yeah, with Skyrim, like, I heard people were like just not going to school and calling off work just to play this game, and like large amounts of people. I'm like, what is so great about this? So I gave it a shot, and I did initially not like it when I first started playing it, and it's just kind of like a light switch that kind of went off, and it's like, you know what? I now see why. And I to this day have not beat the campaign. I don't turn quests on. I don't do any of that. I just go. And I walk. It actually infuriates my wife gets infuriated whenever she sees me playing any sort of open world game, because she says that I just don't do anything but run around. But that's the thing. It's an open world game. You're there to explore it and effectively, I mean, get your money's worth out of it.
Dude, that is literally, me and Logan were talking about that the other day. That's the best part of it, is I purposely don't fast travel. Well, I do now, but I didn't. When I first got that game, I was like, I'm not fast traveling. Anywhere I want to go, I have to walk there. And so much crazy stuff happens to you between point A and point B because it's so huge. It's wonderful.
That's so perfect.
I love
just the things that you
exploration.
find along the way. You can be like, oh, I'm going to stop and hang out here for an hour and then be on my merry way. Almost like a real explorer would do.
Yes. And then when you're finally bored of it, you got all those mods, too, that you could just completely change the game. I've been having fun with those. Like, Skyrim is infinitely playable. That game is...
Yep.
Just let people play it together is all I want in the world. But that's
that
a rant for another time. Yeah. Okay, Neil, give us your third one.
That was my third one.
Yeah,
oh my God,
was
Logan, give us your third one. I am so sorry. This is why I should be calling you ATW. I don't know why I'm not calling you that.
All right,
I'm having a bad
one
day.
since...
It's a bad day for Disciple over here. Oof. Okay.
Oof, Zach. So for my third one, I'm going to have to put, for the young people, Fortnite.
Oh.
Hated it when it first came out. Hated it. And then a month later, loved it. Played the life out of it until about season 7, and then I quit.
Okay. All right. Well, and there's nothing wrong with that too. Like, if you play it, I mean, you get your entertainment out of it. You know what I mean? Exactly.
Yeah. Like I got my time out of it.
You're right. Exactly. Fortnite. Okay. My final one is an indie game. It's a weird one. It was a Kickstart project, and the only reason I like this game is because I forced myself to do it for a review. And it's A Bard's Tale 4, Barrows Deep. That game is phenomenal, and it is a game that I would never, if you, like a turn-based isometric RPG, that's like, oh man, I'd rather hang myself than play one of those. But this game, it takes a while to get good, but it gets really, really good. Not to mention the fact all the characters and players in it are completely and totally voiced by great voice actors. They'll even have conversations with each other while you're walking around. And when you're fighting, it's non-stop. They're constantly talking. It really makes you like feel like you're in it. And then they did the entire soundtrack from scratch. And they did it all in like the style of old like Gaelic, like Irish like music. Like it's buggy. There are buggy problems with it. It's a Kickstart game. I don't know. You know what I mean? That's just the way it is. But there's just something about it. And I mean, Borderlands 3 is coming out. Iceborne's out right now, so I won't be playing it anytime soon. But I'm not going to remove it from my hard drive, and I will probably, when I get bored, go back to it because it's just fun. It really is. Even the turn-based stuff, they put this like level of movement to it that none of those games like that have. That just makes it so interesting. So that's my third one.
It's a pretty good third one.
I think it's all right. I don't think I did all right. Okay.
Yeah, my mom's boyfriend's playing that right now. He seems to be enjoying it.
It's good. It's good. It's good. I think it's good. That brings us to Fantasy Corner, our favorite segment. In this segment, this week, we are just designing a game, start to scratch. No crazy rules this time. I just want to be simple and fun. You can take it any way you want. Do you want to design the game to make a ton of money, all the monies? Do you want to design a game just something that you would want to play? Whatever it is. So Logan has off mic called going first. So Logan, take it away.
Yep. Okay. Well, I would want to make NBA 2K, a version of that, except for I don't have to pay a bunch of money to be good. and me and Ashton talked about this a lot because 2K is a very money-grubbing company.
Yeah.
And they make a very good game. They make a very good game. But to be good, you have to buy the game 60, and then every single year you have to put an extra 50 to make your guy even okay. And they say, like, you don't have to do that, but if you don't, then your guy is going to be terrible, and you're not going to have a good time playing the game for a couple months.
Right.
And so you kind of do have to if you want to enjoy the game. And I would love it if we could go back in the day, maybe around like 2K15, 2K16, when you really didn't have to spend money on the game to be good at the game and to have a good time.
Right.
And so I love the game, but I would like it if I didn't have to pay so much money or any money besides buying the game to enjoy it.
I think that can be said for all games out there right now.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I get the GAS model. It's still frustrating to see it everywhere. I mean,
or at least give the game at a discount.
Right.
And
I mean, the
there's
thing is they can't
microtransactions.
do that because it costs so much to make video games right now. The whole problem with it is video games haven't gone up in price more than $10 since the days of Sega Genesis, but it cost $1 billion, $3 billion to make one nowadays. You know, so they got to find a way to get their money back out of it, and that's why we get loot boxes. And crap
exactly.
like that. It sucks. It's a hard cost. It's like I've heard a lot of people say, "Oh, just make it $20 more and take all that stuff out, and we're happy." But honestly, I don't want to spend $20 more on video games. Like, so I mean, I got a wife. I can't explain to her that I'm going to spend $80 on a video game this week. It's just not going to happen.
That's true.
So like,
even 60 is kind of a hard argument.
60 is real hard. That's why I have many different ways to get free video games. I should just have a podcast on how to get free video games. But still, I don't want to take up all of it.
You go rob a GameStop.
Mine are legal. Thank you.
Well, I'm actually fortunate. My wife works for, let's just say a game store because we can all assume what one it is. But because of that, I can actually check out literally any game that I want for 3 days. New release, doesn't matter, just to try it out at no cost. It's essentially like having a family video that you don't got to pay for.
Oh my God.
That's
awesome.
Perfect.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I wish they did that. I wish GameStop did like a rental program of some sort. Like,
well, go ahead.
They almost did, and I would have been all in for that. Yeah. But anyway, we are running insanely long. So Neil, what's your game?
Okay, so I actually have two real quick. One of them is I've thought about this actually for a long time. It is a survival horror game where you actually get cursed somehow, your character, and it uses environmental puzzle solving between like a hellish dark landscape and the real world using light.
Okay.
Ooh.
That's
So you
intriguing.
get basically dragged into the underworld, but it's an underworld version, almost like a Silent Hill sort of thing.
Okay.
And the other one is just, I think is fantastic. A breakfast cereal mascot fighter, like Smash Brothers.
That would be good. That would be really
Who does
good.
not want to see Captain Crunch up against Six the Rabbit?
Oh man, I want Count Dracula.
That's so
I want
perfect.
Count Chocula to look like Dimitri from Dark
Exactly. You play in Count Chocula's castle.
Oh god,
Boom,
that'd be amazing.
Frankenberry just goes up
Yes.
back home.
I'm in for that. I'm totally in for that. I want to play that frog. I want to see the moves for that frog.
This Sugar Smacks frog.
This should
Lots
be
of
right.
snacks, I can tell you that.
You better smack somebody at some point. It doesn't make any sense.
Fund it.
Fund it. Right. All right. Well, those are good ones. Those are real good ones. Mine is okay. So I want mine's a little bit more baseline. I want a Fable game. But I don't want a Fable game like Fable 3 because that game sucked, and I don't care what anybody says. Fable 3 sucked. It was a terrible game. I don't know why people even think it was God, it was awful. It makes me mad thinking about it because I took off work to play that game. So I don't want that. I want Fable 2. I want it on this or the next generation, and I want it to just be huge. I want it to be like the second one was, but I want it to also have multiplayer. I want that full multiplayer like the third one had, which that always still depresses me that the third one, the worst one, has the good multiplayer. But I want people to be able to jack into my world. I want to go on. We're in such a good climate for that, for a big open world game with multiplayer on it. That's what every game is that's successful, you know?
Yep.
I know this is kind of run of the mill. You guys were way more creative and cool, but if somebody was like, make a game, I would be like, well, let me call Lionshead and let me call Microsoft because that's the game I'm making is Fable. First of all, it's going to be called Fable 3 because whatever that shit was with the stupid crown is out of here and that's done. I want Fable 3, a real Fable 3. And when Fable comes out, if they call it 4, I'm calling it 3. That's happening. It's happening. I'm very hopeful that the rumors are true and that Playground actually does have it and they are actually making it for the next gen, but I won't believe it until I see it. I think as gamers, there's just too many rumors out there, but so I was kind of like on the fence whether I should do this one because it's so straightforward, but my heart's just in it. Fable 2 was one of my all-time favorite games. I want Fable 3, the real Fable 3. So that's mine. All right, that brings us finally to the end of the show, and this has been a great show, well worth the time to go extra. So let's go around the metaphorical desk one more time. Neil has been our guest, a tiny wizard, ATW. We really appreciate you coming on and talking to us about games, and we just want to ask you if there's anything you want to plug, go ahead and do it now. And if not, just thanks for coming on. Seriously.
No, I don't really have anything to plug, but thank you guys very much for letting me come on and talk at you.
Hey, it was our pleasure, man.
Yeah, we highly enjoyed it. We always do, and we will definitely have you on again if you're down.
Absolutely, 100%.
Logan, you got anything to plug, buddy?
My YouTube at Nightspace645. It's all my highlights and soon to be Brawlhalla highlights. I
do include a link to your channel in the end screen of this podcast, so anybody curious, all you have to do is click that little circle that says Night645 on it. So, for me, now that I've cleared my throat audibly on a tape, you can, of course, check out Old Man Gaming. Check out our horrible reviews, which will be posted every Monday, at least, hopefully. I'm trying to. Also, check out my new series, Predator vs. Prey, where I play Monster Hunter World semi-good.
It's pretty good.
On Wednesdays. Hopefully, again, take all of these scheduling with a grain of salt. And of course, listen to more of these podcasts, which we will be posting every Friday, hopefully, if we can. But also, like me on Facebook, and please comment below. Anything you want to comment, even if you're a troll, I don't mind. I respond relatively well to trolls, so we just love to hear from you. And thank you so much for listening and liking and subscribing. So, until next time, as long as you guys keep listening and viewing, we'll keep making them. Okay? Because I'm terrible at this, I did forget to give out the credits for the episode. We want to thank my brother, Nick Van Sliders, for the opening theme song. And we also want to thank Mark Bell for the amazing title banner that you see at the beginning and end as well.